119th Wing and 11 other organizations involving over 600 personnel participated in potentially the largest joint exercise in the state of North Dakota for the National Guard. We capitalized on our wing commander's priorities to develop combat proficiency, but we also promoted innovation through actions during a contested and degraded and operational limited environment that we would expect from our adversaries. The 119th Wing itself transformed to a deployed location where it generated, employed, and sustained operations to support a forward operating base at the Camp Grafton Training Center. Our unit participated in force bed down and sustainment operations, while we did daily convoy operations to support intel training scenarios that our staff and our command structure would have to act upon. The convoy operations were supported by MQ-9 ISR for convoy overwatch, along with Army National Guard helicopters and the 54th Helicopter Squadron at Minot Air Force Base.
Convoy training is important for the 119, so when we do deploy in real world, we have a better understanding and experience
and doing those scheme movements and good communication.
The convoy encountered broken down van, and they progressed with that and gathered intel. We did a simulated rollover where Medevac was able to incorporate their side of training as well.
Those helicopters also provided a medical evacuation for our medics to do their tactical combat casualty care training to evacuate any situation that they needed to during those operations.
Each of the teams that came out were put in a situation where they're having to treat different types of injuries, working with their buddies and kind of just being under a little bit of stress to go through the skills that they went through in class with the all-service member Tier 1. This practice situation is something that, again, you can use in real life, and hopefully this is the only TCCC you ever have to do, but if you do have to do it for real, at least you practiced on something else prior to doing it with real blood, real guts.
There's a lot of lessons learned from these scenarios. One, the whole overall exercise design. This has been planning in over a year to bring all the different units together to find out what they need to exercise and then what they want to exercise, and then how to integrate all of those together. One of the biggest pieces was to bring in the Army National Guard. That helps establish our relationships with them. This was combat proficiency, so how could we use them and what they did in combat and what we do in combat and how we can integrate and collaborate together. Those relationships will have lasting effects when we do our domestic operations or DOM ops in the state of North Dakota in the future. We have a lot of new and young personnel, so for them to see what we do for these exercises and for them to step up and participate. A lot of units capitalized on these exercises to do their own unit-specific training, and there was an opportunity for them to train but also to execute. So for instance, our Force Support Squadron, they were able to do search and recovery training that they would do in combat. Additionally, they set up their combat kitchen and took that down as well. Back here at the 119th Wing, our civil engineers did runway damage repair, as well as the damage assessment response teams would go out and do assessments. This was a fantastic experience, and I think the relationships from the jointness are what stand out. Over half the organizations were our state partners. We know who they are now, they know who we are, and we'll be able to work together in the future a lot better.